April 22nd, 2020, day 37 on the Luzon Enhanced Community Quarantine. Here in the Philippines, been locked down for 37 days now. Our current situation is we can go out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for, food banking, pick up medicine. The rest of that time I'm confined to this little barangay. In other words, our local community. There's a few little stores and our logistics are flowing, so we're not as bad and haven't been as bad a shape as other people around the world. But we're coming up on a key decision tomorrow whether the leadership is going to lift the lockdown, modify the lockdown, or extend the lockdown. And I'm just going to kind of talk about it, folks, not from a political stance. Really just more from a science slash probability slash common sense approach. And it's not just here in this country. It's, the world's governments have responded by locking the population down against our will. So don't think that I'm picking on any one government or any one state. I'm here currently in the Philippines. I have been locked down for 37 days. I'm not happy about it. But it's the situation that, it's the hand that I've been dealt in my personal situation. You may be in a state in the U.S. where you guys didn't have too much of a lockdown, or you may be in New York where there's quite a considerable lockdown. Or you may have been in Wuhan or Italy. So we've all had varying degrees, of lockdowns, other than a few countries who elected to just kind of leave everything open. So what I'm going to discuss is first I'm going to talk about a movie that I watched last night. Okay, and there's my beautiful.
I give this to the baby now.
Okay, who's watching our baby?
I bring him.
Okay, all right, baby. Of course, she's got a bunch, not a bunch, but we've given away most of his baby clothes. We just pass them on. We don't hoard them. I can't stand that when, the kids outgrow their clothes and we're just sitting on a pile of clothes. There's, obviously plenty of babies around here that can benefit from them. So I had her go through his stuff again, periodically where he outgrows the outfits, and realized that we still had some onesies and stuff, for newborns tucked away somewhere. I'm like, look, get rid of that. So just coincidentally, there's a little newborn baby just right down the way, a little baby boy. I think he's about a month old, almost a month old. So she grabbed that bag. It's probably about 6, 8, maybe 10 little different outfits, little onesies. So anyhow, she's gonna go down there and take that to that baby, and pass the clothes on down, on forward, however you want to look at it. Anyhow, back to the topic at hand. I watched a movie last night. Now I have a Roku stick, and I'm not running a VPN through the router itself. So my Roku stick, is obviously knows it's here in the Philippines, and most of those channels on there, they don't work. But there's two movie channels on the Roku stick that does work, and it's what's it called, Popcorn Flicks and Tubi, Tubi. I always call it too big because that means water here in the Philippines. So we got two movie channels. We can go on that Roku stick, and it's got hundreds of movies. A lot of them are older movies, So I'm just scrolling down through there last night, and I see this movie that says Virus. Virus caught my eye, and so I end up watching this movie. Now I'm going to kind of pull up the I'm just going to go off of Wikipedia, so if there's some errors in here, just you have to deal with it. But this movie it's a Japanese film, post-apocalyptic science film, and it came out in 1980. And there are a lot of Japanese actors in there, and there's a lot of American actors. Parts of the film are in English, parts of the film are in Japanese. And when I first started watching it, the subtitles or the information, it's in Japanese, so I couldn't read. You can't read what's going on throughout the movie unless you read Japanese. But I watched it, and it's I'm going to try to give you enough to get you interested to watch the movie without giving too many spoilers. But there are going to be some spoilers because I'm going to use certain aspects of this movie to compare it to modern day as to what is effective and what is not effective. So if you're going to watch that movie, it's probably better if you hit pause now, go watch the movie, and come back to the video. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Go watch the movie first. Get on your Roku stick, scroll down to Tubi, T-U-B-I, and scroll way down. It's called Virus. And it's got some Japanese writing, which basically, I don't read Japanese, but Fakatsu no Hi, or Fakatsu no Hai, which literally means the day of resurrection. Okay, spoiler alert, I fucking warned you. Pause my video, go watch Virus, and come back. That's the way it's going to be. Okay, so in 1982, it's when this kind of kicks off. An East German scientist and a group of Americans trying to recover this substance known as MM88, which is a deadly virus created accidentally by an American geneticist, which amplifies the potency of any other virus it comes into contact with. So the Americans recovered the virus sample, which was stolen from a lab in the U.S. the year before, but it's accidentally released after the plane transporting it crashes, creating a pandemic initially known as the Italian flu. Okay. Again, I told you, at first I said I'm not going to give up, and then I gave you the spoiler alert. So I'm about to spoil the whole movie. All right, I have to go down that road. I have to spoil it. Stop and go watch it. Within 7 months, virtually the entire world's population has died off. However, the virus is inactive at temperatures below negative 10 degrees Celsius. And the polar winter has spared 855 men and 8 women stationed in Antarctica. That's it. That's all the people left on the globe, aside from some people on some submarines. Okay. Now, let me just stop there and let's talk about lockdowns that are effective versus lockdowns that are combat ineffective. Okay, now this virus here, in the movie, it's a killer. It's I think maybe the world's media and the world's governments watched this movie and said, "Holy shit!" And they responded because they thought it was going to be like MM88 instead of basically a new strain of flu like COVID-19. Haven't checked the numbers recently, but the numbers are on schedule that the flu is going to kill more people this season than COVID-19. Well, in the movie, this virus MM88 is a killer. It basically burns through, it kills everybody. Lottie-dottie, everybody. Okay? So all of the quarantines, all the military lockdowns, everything that they were doing, it shows in the movie. People are wearing masks. All of this shit is combat ineffective in the end because it kills everybody. Literally. Who does it not kill? Okay, it does not kill the people in Antarctica. Okay, why? Well, one reason because it's too cold, but the other reason is what? They are fucking quarantined. They are an effective lockdown / quarantine. The president in this movie gets on the phone, when he's about to die, and starts telling these Arctic stations, do not try to come back and do not allow anybody to come there. You do so at your own peril. In other words, you're going to die too. So that is an effective quarantine. They are down in Antarctica. Nobody's coming. Nobody's going. There's no fucking cargo. There's no freight. There's no food. They are isolated. They are fucking effectively quarantined. That is an effective fucking quarantine. They had their own food for 2 years. Okay, they have been locked down before this shit started. That's an effective quarantine. That's why those people live. Only people on the earth, the ones down in Antarctica, and a couple of crews of some submarines. So what can you effectively 100% quarantine? Well, Antarctica, I'd say you can quarantine Antarctica as long as there's nobody coming and going. They're isolated, they're far enough away from this shit. And if nobody comes and goes, theoretically, that is an effective quarantine. Moving along to the submarines. Submarine, that's pretty much an effective quarantine. You have enough food and water. You were in the submarine prior to the outbreak of the virus. You're pretty much locked down, quarantine. You're safe from any antigens coming in that submarine unless you get too close to land and a fucking bird comes over and takes a fucking shit on the hatch while you're getting some fresh air. So, in the movie, one submarine was on station prior to the outbreak. They were clean. Now another sub apparently was not, and they were infected. But the submarine that was on station prior to the outbreak was clean. Why? Because you can effectively quarantine a submarine. Now, I think you could effectively quarantine a ship. Oh, here's the other thing. This virus also affected wildlife. It killed every living fucking mammal. So say you're on a ship and you're too close to shore and a fucking seagull who's infected comes over, takes a dump on your head, and now it wiped out the ship. So that would be kind of debatable. Is a ship an effective quarantine? Maybe if you're in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean, out of fucking seagull range, maybe so. But in the movie they portrayed, hey, everybody's dead except for Antarctica and these crews on these submarines. Now, the submarine full of Russians that was infected, they're requesting permission to dock in Antarctica. They told them, hell no, you cannot fucking dock here. You'll kill us all. The guy says basically, fuck you, I'm going to dock. Well, that's when the skipper of the British submarine, which they are not infected, says, look, dude, you're not going to dock over there. I'm going to have to fucking take you out. And so they do. Boom. You can't let the infected people by no means come in contact with the people who are 100% not infected. If they do, everybody over there is dead too. In the case in this movie. Now, in the case of the coronavirus, everybody would just be infected. And there would be some deaths, but in the movie, it would kill everybody. So let's go back to effective quarantines. It's an effective quarantine. Nobody was coming and going. And the people that were there were 100% not infected. Because they were there long before the virus escaped. Same with the submarine crew. But here you come. Here you come some people that are infected. Or even potentially infected. If you allow that submarine to dock there in Antarctica, there is no more quarantine. You've just given up the fucking ghost. Okay? So they fucking blast the submarine out of the water to prevent them from killing everybody else. That is an effective quarantine. Now, what they decided to do, which was very risky on their part, is they allowed the crew of the submarine that didn't have infected people to dock. Now that was a huge fucking risk. Huge fucking risk. But they took the word of the captain that, hey, we were on station. In other words, we were fucking deployed. We were underwater prior to this fucking virus getting released around the globe. So they trusted them and it all worked out. That was a huge fucking risk, though. That's a 50-50 judgment call. Because if you know your location is 100% fucking straight, any motherfucker that you let in there, any fucking parcel, any fucking animal, anything that comes in there may take you all out. So that's my point about an effective quarantine is nobody coming, nobody going. That's effective. Now, you can say, well, what if they tested all these guys on the submarine and then let them in? That's still not effective. Why? Let's go to modern day. Let's talk about the fucking test kits. Where are most of these test kits made? China. China. Fucking China. China. That's where these test kits are made. You've read the articles. Places around the world that have taken orders from, taking fucking stock from Chinese companies, quickly manufacturing these fucking cheap ass test kits. They're showing fucking false negatives. They're fucking faulty. Some of these countries are just fucking giving them back or telling them to fuck off. They're useless. Maybe they're not useless, but they are fucking not reliable. You cannot rely on these fucking test kits coming out of goddamn China. These are the bastards that started this shit. Do you think I'm going to trust a fucking coronavirus test coming out of fucking China, produced this quickly? Folks, so are we not aware of all the fucking, problems that have came out of China because of fucking shady ass manufacturing processes? Whether you want to believe all the stories or not, the fucking lead and paint on children's toys, the fucking baby formula fucking shit they put in there. Do you think I trust a fucking Chinese coronavirus test? So if I'm down in there, if I'm in Antarctica, right? I'm in Antarctica and I know 100% all of my, however many people. Okay, how many we got? 800. Let's just go to the movie here. So we got I don't see the numbers. Here we are. 855 men and 8 women. And I'm in charge down there. Here come the submarine. And the captain says, yeah, we're clean. Okay, well, how do you know? Well, we were on station before the virus broke out. Okay, I might believe you. But if the captain piped up and said, well, we got these fucking coronavirus, COVID-19, well, let me use the movie here. We've got this MM88 test kits that were manufactured over in fucking China that we picked up 3 for $1. we're going to test the crew with these fucking test kits and then we'll let you know the results. Nah. Hell no. You think I would fucking, if I was in charge down there, I would let people outside my quarantine come into my quarantine, potentially kill my ass and everybody else that's there based on a fucking test kit from fucking China? These are the same folks that can't keep the fucking virus inside a level 4 biosafety lab. Think about this. This is a level 4 biosafety lab. Now, I've already said 100% my theory. It was an accident at the lab based on just a true accident or negligence. Okay? It wasn't an act of terrorism, an act of war. It doesn't necessarily have to be a weaponized version. They have bats there that have have various kinds of fucking coronavirus. They're studying them. They're manipulating the virus. That's what researchers are supposed to do. But through an accident or through negligence, this shit escaped from a level 4 biosafety lab. Do you think I'm going to trust the numbers and the results from a fucking, 3 for $1 fucking Chinese, rapidly produced, mass produced field test for COVID-19? No. Not me. I'm not going to trust that. So let's look at modern day numbers here and what governments are basing their decisions off of. They're basing their decisions off of numbers over computer models. For the computer models to work, you have to input some raw numbers, some raw data, some raw parameters. Then the computer puts all the algorithms together and says this, and this. It's a fucking guess. And you remember early on, at least, I grew up, I remember when I saw my first computer. They used to tell you garbage in, garbage out, right? In other words, if you put bullshit into your database, well, you're going to get bullshit data to come out. That's what's going on around the world right now, in every fucking place on the globe, is that, number one, your computer models are not exact. Number two, all the data that's going in there is fucking skewed. It's flawed. It's fucking bullshit. For various reasons. Number one, the fucking test kits, I don't trust. They're fucking quickly and just fucking cheaply and mass produced. The product itself, for me, is not reliable. I would not trust those test kits that they're using. I just wouldn't do it. Number two, if you want the numbers of COVID-19 to go up, just start testing people. Just start testing. Pick an area. Pick a fucking city. Pick an area. Here in the Philippines, okay, the numbers are very low. Why? Because they haven't fucking tested hardly anybody. There's no bodies in the streets here. All right? It's not like Italy where, all those old folks died. But if you want COVID-19 numbers to go up, just start testing. Just start testing. Pick a fucking barangay, go start testing people. By the next day, you're going to have 50 positive. Oh my God, we got a problem. Don't test here and go 50 miles south and start testing. Your numbers are going to go up. Why? Because this shit has already burned around the globe for months. It has a very low fucking percentage of kill rate. It's killing old people with underlying health conditions and a few more. That's what the flu does. That's what all these other viruses do. If you want the numbers to go up, just start testing. But even if you start testing, the numbers aren't going to be right. There's talk and there's studies and theories and articles about, okay, we already know false negatives because the tests are fucking bullshit, right? What about false positive? People who have had different flu shots throughout the years because they keep fucking pumping us full of all these different kind of fucking strains of the flu and trying to guess which strain is coming around the next Christmas. Those supposedly, I'm not a virologist, but they say that those can give off false positives. So if you had this fucking flu shot 8 years ago, now you're popping hot for COVID-19 because it's similar. Or some of the material, I'm not a virologist, but something in your antibodies that you've built up from these flu shots over the years is going to cause a false positive. So the only way, the true numbers, I look at it like this. The true numbers are this. If you want to see it in an extreme, is there bodies in the streets? Italy, yeah, there were fucking bodies in the streets because they got that high percentage of old people with underlying medical conditions. They are being propped up and their life cycle is being extended because of modern medicine. They're sitting around playing chess, going to the doctor 2-3 times a week. They're on 8 different fucking medications, going to dialysis, whatever. Modern medicine is propping them up. Outside the West, you don't have modern medicine propping people up. People don't have the same health insurance. They don't have access to the same health care. They don't have money to pay for the health care. Here, where I'm at right now, you get cancer, you die. Ain't no fucking radiation therapy unless you're, the top, 5% of the rich, or you're from somewhere else where you can go back home to your home country and access their health system back in the UK. Things don't work outside the West the way they do in the West. Folks, healthcare in Southeast Asia, now take Thailand out of it. This is what I tell a lot of people. Hey, if you ever get sick anywhere in Southeast Asia, you don't need to make it to the U.S. You need to make it to Bangkok and you'll live. You get sick in Cambo, Laos, folks, you're in for a rough ride. The best thing you can do if you got your leg chopped off in fucking Laos is fucking drag your shit down to the Mekong River and swim that motherfucker and get on the Thailand side. I'm just saying that to illustrate that different countries have totally different levels of health care. So here in the Philippines, where I'm at, we don't have a lot of old folks with underlying health conditions. We just don't have that demographic for the virus to wipe out. There's no bodies in the streets here. My theory is that this thing has burned through here since December, January, February. If you started doing antibody testing, it would probably be like the studies that they're doing in the US, and they're finding out, you know what, everybody's already had this shit. They didn't even fucking know it. Maybe they had a cold, had a runny nose, a little bit of a cough. So my original argument, if you want the fucking numbers to go up, just start testing. Whether they're accurate or not, just start testing. And you're going to get some fucking numbers. Don't test. You're not going to get any numbers. It's pretty fucking simple. The data is flawed. The data is fucking flawed. All the fucking data is flawed. Now, what I read here is that, tomorrow the leadership is going to make a decision about whether, to lift it, extend it, modify it. And some people I read are calling for a 2-week extension so they can get the health system at a level where they can handle this. Folks, you're not going to change an entire health system in 2 weeks. If you compared the Philippines health system to the U.S., it's probably 50 years behind. 50 fucking years. I'd say 5 decades. That's reality. I've said it on previous videos, but I went to a clinic to get tested for HIV, just the full gamut, right? Which I do, just to make sure I'm straight because of the lifestyle I've led. I'm signing up for an HIV test, and the nurse draws blood with no fucking gloves on. No universal precautions whatsoever. So you're not going to take a health system that is at that level and in 2 weeks magically be able to support 20,000 people on ventilators. It's not going to happen. You can extend it 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you extend it another 6 months. You're talking a long way to go before this health system reaches anything equivalent to any place in the West. Let's just be real about it. So one of the articles read that they're hoping to get to testing 20,000 people per, 20,000 tests per day. So, all right, so say we get they get the shipment in from China, wherever it's coming from, probably China, and you start testing 20,000 people per day. Well, there's a population here of what, 130 million? So take 130 million, divide that by 20,000 people per day. That'll tell you how many days it's going to take to test everybody. So what is that? Shit, my mom, like 6,000 days? That's just right off the top of my head. Maybe I'm way the hell off. In other words, it's something that cannot be accomplished. It cannot be accomplished. You can't go to the U.S. and test 330 million people in any type of rapid fashion, even being in the United States. It'd take the fucking labs and the medical. You're not going to fucking get it done. Therefore, my argument is, if you cannot test 100% of the people, it's useless. It's useless to test 2 people if there's 100 in the room. It's not 100%. So you don't fucking know. So if you test 20,000 people a day for the next 6,000 fucking days, what have you done? Nothing. Where would testing be effective? It would be 100% effective if you tested people on a submarine. The people cannot come and go. They're in close quarters. You test everybody on a Monday. You separate the people. Say there's 10 positive. You put them over here. You give it a few days. You test the rest of the people. There'll probably be a few more pop. Now, you separate them. Maybe at some point you stop the domino effect, or maybe you don't. Because it takes a few days for these test kits have to react to something. So if you're very early in the stages of the virus, it may not show up. It's a false negative. So a population where, okay, here we call this a lockdown. In the U.S., what the hell are you calling it? I don't know. But you're locked down, but we all have to eat. We have to eat. People have to go to the fucking doctor. People have to go to the pharmacy, or people are going to start dying of other causes. Back to the cure is worse than the fucking virus. So you lock down everybody here, but every day people are going out, or 3 days a week they're going out and they're coming back. They're going out, they're coming back. So even if you have 100 people in this group and you let one motherfucker go out and come back, now you got potentially an infected person in the group, and it's just going to spread like wildfire because you've got them locked down in that fucking group. The whole fucking system makes no sense. Antarctica, you can quarantine. A submarine, you can quarantine. I said before, maybe you could quarantine effectively a nursing home. You know, you surround the damn building with National Guardsmen, put a fucking 100-meter buffer, concertina wire around it. You're disinfecting everything that's coming through. Maybe it keeps it out. How long are you going to do that though? This virus is here. It's part of life now. The genie is out of the fucking bottle. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's here. It's like the flu is here. It's like fucking hand, foot, and mouth disease is here. It's like every other virus and illness that we have failed to eradicate. It is here. You run the risk of catching these viruses the minute you step out of your house. Last year, you didn't see my video? I suffered through hand, foot, and mouth disease. Does that mean I'm going to stay inside my house until the end of fucking time? Or keep my crew inside this house until the end of time? Because I caught hand, foot, and mouth disease and it fucked me up for damn near 2 months. That's the risk that we take in life. You know, if somebody died of the flu in my family, am I going to keep the rest of my family indoors until the end of time because the flu is out there? Folks, you know, I started to call my first book, The Threat is Out There. And if you read that book, it'll explain why we joked around when we said, hey man, the threat is out there. Well, the threat is out there if you allow it to be. If you allow that fear to make you do something or to prevent you from doing something, you're allowing that to control you. COVID-19, the governments and the media has scared the shit out of all of us over COVID-19. Well, fear makes money, and fear is a way to control the people. So, the media has made a lot of money off of this. They've gotten a lot of fucking people are just glued to the TV, glued to the fucking internet. There's agendas behind this. But after this season is over, if the influenza virus kills more people than COVID-19, then what's your argument? What's your argument? They start doing antibody testing and find out, hell, everybody's already had the shit anyhow. I think we're there. I think this is already coming unraveled to the point that we need to say, hey, these lockdowns are fucking, okay, hey, we didn't know. You know, if I were in charge, I would say, hey, look, folks, when this shit first started, we didn't know what we didn't know. We did not know what we were dealing with early on. This is why I locked everybody down, because we thought this shit was going to burn through here like fucking MM88 on that 1980 Japanese film called Virus, and it scared the fuck out of me. But now that we've seen what's going on, it's been fucking 3 months. It has not wiped out the world's population. Okay, let's all go back to work and fucking wash our hands and fucking don't sneeze on one another. We're at that point. We are past that point for everybody to say, hey, we dodged a bullet. You know, there's no use in getting pissed off at the governor, the president, the mayor, whoever's in charge of your government in your country. Just, give them a pass and say, hey, all right, it scared the shit out of you. We understand it. But at this point, this ain't fucking MM88. This ain't Ebola. It's another strain of the flu. And if my leader would stand up and just fucking say that, I'll buy that. We're human. People are gonna fucking react differently. If it was fucking MM88 where it wiped out every fucking living mammal on the globe, well then you wouldn't be so I wouldn't be complaining about a lockdown. But at this point, we're far enough into it, in my opinion, and I'm not a virologist, but I'm in an environment where this thing, highly populated region, people are packed into public transportation. I mean, literally, watch my videos. People just packed on buses, packed in jeepneys, no soap in the fucking bathrooms. A very limited healthcare system. I would have thought that there'd be bodies in the streets like in Italy. There's not. So, those are just my initial thoughts, folks. I don't know how the ruling is going to go tomorrow, and this video may not get posted until after that. And the reason being, my internet went out this morning. A couple days ago, the electric was out, the power was out. Obviously, the internet was out because I had no power all day long. Today, the internet's just out. If it don't come back, I don't know if they can get a repair crew out here to fix this shit until after the lockdown. I don't know. I may be out of business for a couple weeks. But again, I'm creating this video on, was this Wednesday, April 22nd, it's about 5 p.m. And if you just start looking at things from that standpoint, it's sort of like how my buddy Pablo didn't give a shit if girls found out that he was screwing some other girl. He didn't keep a password on his phone. If some girl's like trying to snoop his phone, or while he's texting and trying to look and see what he would just hand her the phone and say, hey, you want to find something? Start looking. Ain't no password on my phone. You want to find some incriminating photos? Just start looking. It's kind of the same way with this COVID-19 shit at this point. You want to find some positive people with COVID-19? Throw a dart at the fucking wall map. Go to that fucking place anywhere on the globe at this point. Start testing people. Whether they're positive now, may not be, but probably 1 in 3 is going to have the antibodies, which means fuck, they had this shit 3 months ago, didn't even know it. So we talk about these second waves, and if it gets extended, it gets extended. How long are you going to fucking extend it? If you want to do 100% testing, how long is it going to take you to 100% test everybody in your country? Name a country. What, are we going to extend it fucking 6 months? A year? 2 years? It's too late. Everybody's already had this shit. It's already burned through here. That's my theory, and that's my thoughts on it. But I just kind of thought about it, and I said, we're very harsh on governments, and I'm a very anti-government guy. Not that I'm to the point of like an anarchist or stuff like that. No, I'm for less government. I'm for much less government. In the United States, my country, I think we can eliminate 85% of the government. Just eliminate 85% of government, and our country would function more efficiently and better. I'm not trying to say that I'm for no government. In a way I am, but I kind of like places where it's the Wild West. But I realize everybody else doesn't. But I truly think we could eliminate 85% of government in the United States, streamline everything, and it'd be a much better place. But with that said, I'm giving them a pass on this aspect. Not a pass, but I'm giving them, what's the word? Not credit. I'm going to, not excuse. I'm not even sure what the word I'm looking for. What I'm trying to say is that when you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to blame people for the initial decisions. Now, once the facts start coming in, the situation starts to develop, and it's quite obvious what's going on. If they continue to make, at that point, if they make stupid fucking decisions, then yeah, it's on them. Hey man, it's quite obvious what's going on at this point. But early on, hell, I don't know. I'd like to take a poll around the world's leaders. Who's seen this fucking movie called Virus with this fucking biological warfare agent called MM88? And I'll tell you this: if you saw that fucking movie, now look, we all saw Outbreak and all these fucking recent movies, but this one right here, I don't know, it just kind of fucking hit home a little more. If I had seen this fucking movie and then this shit started coming out, I mean, goddamn, this is really happening. This is fucking MM88 about to wipe us all out. Hell yeah, I've been on top of that fucking mountain over there, fucking heading for the hills. But if once the situation becomes apparent and then you're afraid to fucking change, make a change because it's gonna put egg on your face that you were wrong from the beginning, well, that's when you need to go. That's when you're not getting reelected. I'm not voting for you again. But if you just stand up in front of me and say, hey man, we didn't know what the fuck we were dealing with, this is how we reacted, but now we're realizing this shit is not MM88, it's not gonna fucking wipe out the entire fucking human race. So boom, as of right now, everybody go back to work. All right, everybody go back to work. That's what I would do. In places where I'm at right now, this is what I would do. Stop the fucking testing. Stop the fucking testing. Just the aspect of testing. Bringing people into the test center. Having people stand in fucking line. Have the medical people. If this medical person gets infected, okay, and doesn't know it, and then he's testing 8 people, well, guess what? 8 people now got it. It's just a recipe to add more numbers. Stop the fucking testing. Take those resources and start buying fucking soap, disinfectant, and start teaching the people and encouraging the people, hey, wash your fucking hands. Wash your hands. Don't fucking sneeze on your fellow man. Wash your fucking hands. When you clean, use this fucking cleaner right here. That's where I would start. Now, that might sound silly to a lot of you in the West, but imagine being in countries where you grow up you don't have a can of Lysol. You don't have a damn $4 thing of Mr. Clean. That shit costs money and you ain't got money. You're focused on buying fucking rice. You don't understand why when you're chopping up a raw chicken or chopping up some raw fish and you go touch a doorknob, you don't understand why now there's germs on the doorknob. You weren't taught that. You don't have access to the fucking soap and all this disinfectant, 9 million different brands of disinfectant when you go to Walmart, right? Different cultures or different stages of learning things like that or being able to afford things like that. So that's what I would do. I would not buy any more test kits from fucking China. I would buy fucking bars of soap. I would buy soap. I would hand them out fucking freely. Just go down the fucking streets throwing soap off these goddamn trucks. Soap should be readily fucking available. It's just fucking laying in the street because nobody has to buy it. It should be just fucking laying around. Hey, here's a bar of soap. You need a bar of soap? No, I got fucking 50 already. Soap. Teach people to wash their hands. Some fucking cleaner. Get some damn Mr. Clean or some Lysol, something, or a true effective cleaner, and teach people, hey, let's fucking do a better job at disinfecting things. Every night, fucking jeepney driver gets out there with his fucking Mr. Clean supplied by the government and fucking disinfects everything. If the government don't supply him that stuff, how long you think he's gonna spend that money out of his own pocket when he's only making a few dollars a day? 20, 30, 40 bucks a day, $20, whatever they're making, right? Tricycle drivers ain't even making that much in places. So if I were the government, I'd be buying soap, disinfectant. I would be supplying the hospitals, not just due to this pandemic, but it would be mandated wherever the money has to come from. If it has to come from the government to start with, so be it. Hey, universal fucking precautions. Wear gloves when you're drawing blood. Wear gloves when you're giving immunizations. Wear gloves when you're touching a patient. Change your gloves in between seeing patients and wash your hands. Simple shit like that. Testing? That's up to you. But you want the numbers to go up, just go test more people. You want the numbers to stay steady, go down, stop testing. Pretty simple, right? So why do, all these places that talk about extending, you're going to extend so you can do more testing, so your numbers can go higher, and then you're going to say we need to extend more. Let's do some more testing. Double down on those orders of fake fucking bullshit test kits from the goddamn communist China. Then the numbers keep going up. And oh, by the way, half the test kits are fucking faulty anyhow. Waste of fucking time. But you know what works? What works? A fucking bar soap. Teaching people to wash their hands. Soap in public restrooms. Disinfectant issued to the fucking bus driver, the jeepney driver, tricycle driver. That's combat effective right there. And it's not just going to cut down on COVID-19. I'm not here sitting here casting stones. I'm here. I got kids here. My little girl suffered through hand, foot, and mouth disease, and I got it from her. That shit fucking hurt. Okay, that's viral. Not to mention we had a side of impetigo to go with that shit. That's bacterial. Not to mention fucking Ascaris lumbricoides. Fucking roundworms. See, what else? Hand washing, disinfectant is going to deal with a gamut of bacteria and viruses, where testing for this one new strain of the flu is wasting time, resources, and just causing people to go broke. Those are my thoughts. I guess to summarize it, it's the lockdowns are ineffective because they're not 100%. Even one person coming and going, bringing food, it makes your entire lockdown ineffective. That guy comes in contact with one person that's contaminated, that's infected, he brings it back and infects the whole fucking submarine, the whole Antarctic base, right? So all the lockdowns, all the quarantines are really ineffective, if you want to look at it from that. The testing is ineffective. If you can't test 100% of the people multiple times, ineffective. Test kits, ineffective. Faulty. Shit. Made in fucking China by the same people that can't run a fucking level 4 biosafety lab and keep a fucking virus inside a level 4 biosafety lab. It's like my old man said. He said, man, if they sent them fucking test kits from China, I'd be scared that they got the fucking virus on them. I don't want to touch that shit. I don't blame them. So, back to this movie, Virus. Now, it seemed like it was a long movie, but yeah, this movie is 156 minutes, which most movies are 90 minutes, hour and a half. So this thing here is it's a long movie. But folks, I didn't want the fucking movie to end. I mean, I was committed. I enjoyed the hell out of it. There are parts in there that are in Japanese. Don't hit the fast forward button and don't back out. Just listen to it in Japanese. You'll understand what's going on. And I'm glad they did the movie like that. Now, some of the subtitles, I do wish that they had been in English so I understood everything that was going on. But the parts that they were speaking Japanese, you're just watching the actors and in the context, you know what's going down. So just a great movie. I think somebody said, or I read something that said it was the most expensive movie, most expensive Japanese-made movie at the time. I don't know if that's a fact or not. Shot on location in Tokyo, Canada, Ottawa, Halifax. Supported by the Chilean Navy, who lent them a submarine as a filming location. Okay, so pretty cool movie. I'll put the link to the I'll put the Wikipedia link down in the description so you know exactly which movie it is. But if you got your Roku stick, Tubi, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it was Tubi. It's either that or Popcorn Flicks, but I'm pretty certain it was Tubi. And you'll find that movie Virus. But in all the other movies that I've watched recently, this one just kind of small little things just kind of hit home. Like it shows this picture of these little kids standing there and they got masks on. I don't know, just kind of eerie. So check that out, folks. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't agree with my assessment. That's quite fine. I respect dissenting opinions. Because if we're all thinking the same, then somebody's not thinking. So I certainly appreciate any dissenting opinions. Doesn't bother me at all. You can totally disagree with everything I just said and say I'm crazy and I'm quack, but I'm just kind of looking at it from a logical standpoint. You could theoretically keep the world locked down indefinitely, and we're still going to be dealing with this because it's here to stay, just like all these other viruses are. I'm ready to push play. I hope tomorrow the decision is made that on the 30th, everybody's going to push play. There's been some people that said they want to just keep Metro Manila locked down for longer. I think we're just wasting time. Now, personally, if they let me free and they keep Metro Manila locked down, well, it allows me to roam up here in the northern part of Luzon. I'll get out and stretch my legs and start roaming, but until the airports and everything go back to operating, my lifestyle is still impacted. So I'm looking for a full fucking push play. Let's fucking rock on with it and let's let everybody take their fucking chances. You know what's out there. You know the fucking risks. If you're afraid to get on that airplane, don't get on the fucking airplane. If you're afraid to sit next to me on the airplane, don't fucking get on the airplane. It's simple. Nobody's forcing you to go travel. Nobody's forcing you to get on a plane or a bus or a jeepney. If I'm on that jeepney and you're on that jeepney and we're sitting next to each other, we both know the risks. We both know the risks. We know the risk that I may catch COVID-19 from you or you may catch COVID-19 from me. But with that risk, I could catch the flu from you. I could catch hand, foot, and mouth disease from you. I could catch fucking a gamut of shit from you. It's the same risk when two consenting adults have sex. If I sleep with a girl and I don't wear a condom, I know and she knows the risks. She could either give me the clap or I can give her the clap. Syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV. We know this. We know and have known since the 80s, that if you sleep with a person without a condom, or if you do and that condom breaks, unprotected sex, we know there is a risk of contracting HIV. We still have sex anyhow. And not everybody is wearing a condom all the time. Does it make us stop having sex? No. We just understand the risks, and it's our bodies, and we're willing to take those fucking risks. I just don't see at this point in time, why are we treating this so special compared to other shit? Now that we know, and even some of my commentary from the beginning, I'm going off the data that's available at the time and the decisions that are wise at the time. But at this point, months later, we are more informed about what's going on, and we don't need to be as fucking frightened. And we don't need to be as scared of this.
Excuse
Hey,
me,
girl. Yes.
Marcos, what do you like to drink?
Oh, baby, I'll just take some Coke, please.
Only Coke?
That'll be fine.
Wow, good boy.
Oh, thank you, baby. Beautiful Helen of Troy coming in here. Thank you so much,
You're
sweetie.
welcome, Kimate.
Oh, sweet girl. So that's my thoughts, folks. I'm sure there's some more points that I wanted to bring up, or maybe I could have presented in a little bit better way. And I hope that nothing that I said today was you think is. I hate using the word conspiracy theory because basically what conspiracy theory is a word or a couple of words used by representatives of the United States government to describe somebody who doesn't agree with their official version of events. It's a label, it's a brand. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, the word conspiracy, to conspire, means to plan or plot. So how do we shove two words together and then people automatically think it's a quack, some nutcase with a tinfoil hat that come up with this? Well, it's because the U.S. government is very good at marketing and branding. So if you disagree with the U.S. government and their version of events or history, they just label you a conspiracy theorist and they discredit you. Because when facts are in front of people's faces, it's hard to discredit the facts, but it's easy to discredit the messenger. You ever notice that? When they can't go after the facts, they just find, oh, this guy didn't pay his taxes 3 years ago. He's late on his child support. And now all of a sudden the guy's a fucking demon. Thank you very much, darling. Thank you so sweet. The guy's a fucking demon and everybody's talking about his back child support and they're not discussing the facts that he brought out. That's how it happens. So I hope that nothing I said today you took as a conspiracy theory. Just take a look at it. Would if you were in Antarctica in charge of all those guys down there and the 8 ladies, would you let people aboard your secure sanctuary if they tested negative for this was it MM88 virus with a Chinese test kit? Would you? No. So therefore, why would you trust these fucking test kits that's coming out of China right now? I wouldn't trust them. Just wouldn't do it. And if you had a budget, everybody has a certain budget. If you had a limited budget, I don't even use the word limited. Would you spend your budget on testing at this point? Or would you spend it on something else? So let's just say you're a mayor of small town USA. You have 5,000 people and your budget to spend on COVID-19, because you're a small town, you've got $100,000. How would you spend it? You spend it on testing? That's just a question. I told you my answer, now I'm asking for your answer. What would you spend your limited budget on? Especially if you were in a place like this. If you were in country X with a limited health care system, the people are poor, no health insurance, you had a limited amount of money, what would you spend it on? And if you'd spend it on test kits or testing, well, put it down in the comments down below. If you got another great idea, put that idea down there. But unless I can test 100% of the people in a very short time frame with a very reliable method of testing, I'm not spending any. I wouldn't spend $1 on it because it's ineffective. I'd rather buy soap and fucking Lysol cleaner, Mr. Clean, fucking You know, things like that. And let's get on with it. Now, folks, if you're not a subscriber on my channel, I think I've talked enough, and my internet's still down, so I got to go in there and screw with the router and just make sure everything's straight for like the 8th time. I've emailed and texted the company, and I don't know if they have repair crews out or not. If they don't, I understand it. It's just it's a shit sandwich I'm gonna have to eat. Being without the internet when I'm trying to run a YouTube channel, I got no choice but to deal with it. But and nothing against them. You know, in the past when I've had problems, they respond and they're on the job. So hopefully they got some repair crews out floating around. Hopefully they'll get back to me within a reasonable amount of time, and I can get back into business. But if you're not a subscriber on my channel, right there, hit that Overstay Road sign or whatever that graphic is, and become a subscriber. I'd appreciate it. And I just want to say thanks for listening to my voice. Thanks for watching my video. And you know, just leave your thoughts, and what would your course of action be if you were in charge? You had X amount of dollars. What would you do at this point? Knowing what we know now, not knowing what we knew in January, knowing what we know now, what would you do? All right, folks. I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you have a great night, great morning, wherever you're at on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And peace out, my friends.